Kidding. Well, we still got something for the thumbnail. Hello, people of the internet, how are we doing today? Welcome to my Captain Marvel spoiler talk, because when I said in my review that I was going to have a spoiler talk in a few days, I meant a week. Not true. I got busy. The benefit of having your spoiler talk up a week and a half late is that you don't have to feel as bad talking about spoilers. But nonetheless, spoiler warning, if you have not seen Captain Marvel, it's okay. Spoiler-free review that you can check out. With all those formalities out of the way, talk some Captain Marvel spoilers. So yeah, like I said, the movie opens up with her waking up on the Kree home planet, and then she goes to see Jude Law, and they have a little sparring match, and Jude Law's telling her to learn to beat me without using your little laser hands. Once you can do that, you are truly a great warrior. And they go on a train ride. They're talking about this supreme intelligence. No one's ever seen the true form of the supreme intelligence. Takes the shape of whoever you admire most. For Vers, it's Annette Bening, who is this person that she doesn't even remember. She talks with Annette Bening, and they go to a Kree territory that the Skrulls have invaded. I didn't mention this in my spoiler-free review just because I forgot Skrulls are shapeshifters. They pretty much just look at something and then take the shape of it, and it's not like the stylized like Mystique version in X-Men where it's just like these scales flip up, and now Mystique is someone else. It looks gory, it looks kind of gross, it looks like it would hurt them every time they do that. And there is a funny conversation that they have later on in the movie. I don't know too much about the Skrulls. I know that they're shapeshifters, I know they're bad, but the whole dialogue when they're in the Quinjet and they're asking Talos if he can shapeshift into anything. They're asking him if he can change to a filing cabinet, and he's just like, why would I change into a filing cabinet? Because I've always wondered that about the Skrulls. And they shapeshift into anything? And they shapeshift into this microphone that doesn't work for jack shit? I don't know, maybe. So get back on topic there. They're on the Kree territory. Talos is impersonating one of their soldiers. Kidnaps Vers. He puts her in this little device to unlock her memories. You find out that Annette Bening is someone named Wendy Lawson, who is working on Project Pegasus, which is the thing in the Avengers. She gets out and she's got these things on her arms that are blocking her powers, so every time she tries to blast them off, that doesn't work. So she's running around this Skrull ship trying to break these things off her wrist, and she's beating the piss out of the Skrulls while she's doing it. And that was the action scene I was talking about that I actually thoroughly enjoy. It's a blend of excitement and humor and just all around just good action scene. She gets off the Skrull ship and she crash lands into a blockbuster, and she meets Fury and Coulson, which again, I gotta gush about the de-aging technology because it's just so good in this movie. Michael Douglas and Ant-Man and Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War, technology wasn't as fleshed out as they wanted it to be, so that's why they just kind of stood and leaned against a wall. But in this movie, Fury and Coulson are in car chases, action scenes. They're running around doing things that you haven't seen yet. And it's just proof that this de-aging technology is getting better as they go along. Vers ends up hunting down these Skrulls, and she gets on the train and she's getting in that fight with the old lady Skrull. People are trying to pull her off because that's what you would do in that situation if you saw someone beating the piss out of an old lady. After the whole train sequence, Vers gets on a bike, hightails it to this bar. She's getting flashes of memories that she had. One of them is this bar. She goes there and she meets Fury. Finally gets more personal face-to-face time with Fury. She's got to find out he's not a Skrull. And she tells him that they can't imitate the recent memories, so she has to get some heart-to-heart, find out about him. And it's funny when she asks him, name a detail about yourself so bizarre that a Skrull wouldn't know it. He just thinks for a minute. He's like, if toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it. You didn't need to know that, did you? So they go to the Pegasus lab, which, is that the same area from the Avengers? There are areas of that facility that look familiar, and there are other areas of the facility that don't look familiar at all. But I'm just curious, is it the lab from the Avengers? Who knows? Maybe. They're trying to get research on Project Pegasus. They find out Wendy Lawson is ultimately a Kree called Mar-Vell. So ultimately Talos shows up. He's like disguised as Ben Mendelsohn, like himself. Fury had the whole thing earlier where he was talking about, no one calls me Nick, not Joseph. They just call me Fury. Getting in the elevator with Ben Mendelsohn, and he's just like, good job, Nicholas. He says, you get off on this floor, I get up on the floor above you, just like we did in Havana. Ben Mendelsohn's like, yeah, like we did in Havana. Oh yeah, Ben Mendelsohn is Talos. Talos, who is played by Ben Mendelsohn, disguises himself as Ben Mendelsohn. To get out of that Pegasus facility, hightail it to Vers' old Air Force buddy. Her Air Force buddy gives her all these details. Your name is Carol Danvers. You went with Wendy Lawson to test this plane, and you crashed. And it just sucks to know that you were gone for 6 years, you're too stubborn to die, and you're best friends, you don't remember anything. Talos rocks up to the house after being who you thought was the menacing bad guy. He finally comes out and says, we're not. The Kree drove us from our homeworld because we refused to play ball with them. That planet that you fought us on in the beginning of the movie, that was a Skrull refugee camp. We were trying to take shelter there, and the Kree found us. All those cities that were burned to the ground, that was Ronan. Ronan did that. They said that was us, so you'd have an excuse to come and kill us. So yes, the Skrulls are not the bad guys in the movie. The Kree are the bad guy. Jude Law is the main bad. Jude Law, Yon-Rogg, he's just kind of there. I feel like if you're going to get us on board with a villain and then just completely 180, make like the people who we thought were the good guys actually the villain, at least make us care about the good guys, so when that switch is finally flipped, we're like, oh shit, those are the bad guys. This movie didn't have that. They end up going up to Mar-Vell's ship and they find this power source they've been talking about the whole movie. Power source is the Tesseract. Right when the Tesseract showed up, I was just kind of like, why are we doing the Tesseract again? We've had 2 movies about the Tesseract. I think we had 3 movies if you count Infinity War. This is now the 4th time that we're seeing the Tesseract in play in the Marvel Universe. It's repetitive. This is the shaky cam action sequence in the dark room that I was also talking about. It's when the Kree finally get her and she's throwing down with them on the ship. You can't see what's going on, but you can hear them playing I'm Just a Girl, which that song choice was a little too obvious. So after that, Cat swallows the Tesseract because Goose is awesome. Goose is actually a Flurkin, which I did not know what a Flurkin was. I'm not that well versed in Captain Marvel lore. So when Talos first refers to it as a Flurkin and he's scared of it, I thought Flurkin was just another weird name for cat. Like the way that some people call Sprinkles Jimmies. Jimmies is a fucking weird thing to call Sprinkles. I thought Flurkin was just a weird name for a cat. And Talos was scared of it because cats are assholes. That asshole that I was holding in the thumbnail may look cute and innocent, but trust me, he will not hesitate to fucking knock all the shit off of your nightstand at 3:30 in the morning just because he wants to go outside for 5 minutes. He's a dick. So Flurkin swallows the Tesseract and they get off the ship. Ronan shows up and I wanted them to show me more of Ronan. I wanted to be able to look back on Guardians Volume 1 and be like, oh, so this is why Ronan is how he is. That's cool. Not only is Ronan just kind of there, his voice is completely different than it is in Guardians of the Galaxy. I get your voice changes over time, but a grown adult's voice does not change that much in 20 years. Like Ronan in this movie is just speaking like Lee Pace, and in Guardians of the Galaxy, not only is his voice considerably deeper, it's also an accent. You have to wonder how in 20 years he went from launch the ballistics now to behold your Guardians of the Galaxy. How did he go from that first one to that second one? Whatever. So Carol Danvers finally like coming into her form as Captain Marvel, spinning around, takes out all those Kree missiles, which was just kind of Ronan popping his head and being like, hey, I'm here. Oh, fuck, okay, well, I'll be back. Finally goes to confront Jude Law, and Jude Law is like, this is what I've been training you for. If you can beat me without the laser hands, then we'll be good. I saw this coming from a mile away because that's an obvious joke. He just blasts him across the mountain, puts him in a ship, and says, just send a message and say, leave this place alone. Fury ends up playing with the cat, and this is the joke that I was talking about. This is the joke that really pissed me off, that Fury's eye gets taken out by the fucking cat. I feel like it could have been this deep character moment, and it just took something from Fury to have the loss of his eye be treated as this throwaway gag. And I hate that. I hate that that's what they decided to do. One of those things that happened in the movie, and I was sitting there and I was like, you have got to be fucking kidding. Those are the things that bother me about the movie. Fury losing his eye to the cat. I feel that there's some pacing problems. The real villain, who is Jude Law, is very underwhelmed. The movie just didn't grab me in the way that it could have. Finding out that the Avengers was named after Carol because her name in the Air Force was Carol Avenger Danvers. That's like a solo retcon there. And the end credit scene is just the cat yakking up the Tesseract. Back now. But the mid-credit scenes, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, and Rhodey, they're all back at the Avengers facility. Captain Marvel pager from the end of Infinity War, and it shuts off. Cap is still sporting his beard, which the fact that he's going to shave that off at some point in Endgame makes me really sad. Looking at all these monitors, and you see the global missing, you see the count just rising up because half of the population is now dead. Rhodey calls him and he says, hey, that thing just shut off. Steve is just like, alright, reboot it, send the signal again. Bruce Banner says, we don't even know what this thing is. Black Widow says, Fury did, just work on getting it back up. I want to know who's on the other end of that thing. She turns around and Captain Marvel is standing right there. She's like, where's Fury? And it says, Captain Marvel will return. I think it sucks to say that my favorite part of the movie is a clip that is from another movie. In the end, my problems with this movie just kind of stem from narrative choices. I think Captain Marvel is fine. I'm still going to watch it again whenever I do my Marvel Universe marathon. It's going to be like an Iron Man 2, like a Thor the Dark World. It's just going to kind of be on in the background while I do chores around the house. Fine for what it is, but it could have been a lot better with the talent that was involved in. That's what I think. So I want to know your favorite scene of Captain Marvel. Whatever it may be, you can sound off in the comments, and if you like what you've seen, you can click right here. And I will see you guys next time.